Hi, Earthkeepers. This is Carrie Mubarak at wooingnature.live giving you a love reading. I like to thank you for being a patron. I thank you for connecting here. Know that you will be getting your weekly Astro Pulse. You can also get wealth readings and career readings right here on patreon.com. If you connect to Wooing Nature, please let your friends know about it. Those people who you feel connected with, and even the people that you don't feel connected with, maybe they can get something and get their lives together. So I'm going to be reading from the Alphabet for Lovers. This is a great little deck of heart cards that I like. It is Kabbalistically connected, so if you're into the Kabbalah, you will appreciate some of the messaging that may come through them today for you. I'm going to pull one card to kind of get us to get an overview of what's going on with your love situation. And then I am going to turn to the Tarot Illuminati so that we can illuminate further what's going on in the relationship. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, we've got number 35 here, which represents learning from each other. So in the relationship that we're talking about today is one in which you are learning from your partner, or you are having a learning experience with them. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. I just want to say, when you are learning from each other, if you're in a relationship where you can learn from each other, there's always room for growth. And it can always be exciting because there's something new happening at all times. For some of you, you may be involved in an activity, or you have a hobby, or you have an interest that is of interest to the other person as well. They like learning about that. And for others of you, they have something that they are also sharing. But the main thing is you're learning from each other, which is good for spending time together too. Not just, like going through the motions, getting dinner and going to the movies, which you can't do anyway right now because of COVID. But all right, so the first card up here, tarot card up, is the Moon. To me, this means that both of you, the two of you, or both of you, are connecting to the spiritual realm. Actually, the astral realm could be astrology. Could also be learning the cycles of nature. I love that. Learning each other's patterns, how you tick. Both of you are bridging opposites. So you may be opposites, but opposites attract, and there's a bridging there of these opposites. There's some in-depth things, some underlying aspects of yourself that you're learning. In other words, you're learning about yourself through the other person, and vice versa. But you're learning about sort of like the subconscious parts of yourself, or the underlying sides of yourself. I want to say the darker sides of yourself, but that's going to scare people. I don't mean that. I just mean the things that may be hidden, or the things that are underneath the surface that aren't right on face value. In other words, y'all getting a little deep, okay? And then we have the sun right behind it. So to me, I feel like sun and moon, again, bridging opposites. One person might be very optimistic. The other person might be real deep, One person may be outgoing and the other person might be more introverted. Masculine and feminine, yin and yang. This isn't a bad relationship, Opposites do attract. All right, we have the 9 of Cups here. 9 of Cups. Meaning that there was some conquest, or there's been relationships in the past that you have learned from. Both of you have learned from. You're both feeling kind of confident, or You may or may not be feeling confident. Let me put it that way. You may or may not be feeling confident because of that. But again, what you're learning about each other is going to help you gain the confidence. I'm seeing in here hot and cold too. Definitely opposites. All right, some of you guys are dealing with a King of Swords person. This person is a thinker, could be an air sign, a Gemini, a Libra, or an Aquarius. Could also be somebody with a lot of air in their chart. Somebody who's a thinker, somebody who's intelligent, somebody who is a good judge of character, or who is able to judge a situation clearly. And then we have the Five of Wands here, which to me represents some sort of conflict. Now, the question is, where is the conflict and what is the conflict about? Could be internal conflict. Could be that there are external conflicts. Could be conflicts that you have with the other person, but that doesn't mean you're not learning from them. Okay? Doesn't mean you're not learning from them. You can learn when you have conflicts. Matter of fact, when you have conflicts with another person, you're learning a whole lot. You're learning about yourself, and you're also learning about the other person. You know, you're really learning about your bottom lines when you have conflict, because you know how when you button heads with somebody and you're going off and you like, no, I mean this, and you stand on it. You know, it's something you feel very strongly about. We've got a Three of Wands here. Three of Wands, Three of Wands, Three of Wands in relationship to learning from each other, in relationship to this King of Swords person, in relationship to learning conflicts or dealing with conflicts and opposites. Please help me understand this Three of Wands here. Clarify the Three of Wands in this spread. Please clarify the Three of Wands. Please clarify the Three of Wands for my Earth Keepers. Okay. So we've got a Queen of Pentacles here with the King of Swords. Now, how does this work out? Okay. The Queen of Pentacles is somebody who is she's focused more on things and objects and stuff in her surroundings, right? Of course, as a Queen of Pentacles, Pentacles is the earth sign. The earth sign is associated with the Pentacles. So you may be an earth person and the other person is an air person. Earth people like for things to be on the ground. They like their money right. They like their bank account right. They like their home surroundings to be together. They're on the job. They feel like, they're where they need to be. They like to feel comfortable. Air signs are a little bit different. Air people a little bit different. They're not so much focused on the material, and they're also really not focused on being grounded. They just like thoughts and ideas, and sometimes the thoughts and ideas of things. Where there can be conflict is when you're trying to get something done and the other person is, somewhere out in the cosmos. In the reverse, sometimes people just want to keep it light, and for them, you make it heavy. They make everything heavy. Oh, why everything got to be so serious kind of thing. But what you're doing is you're learning the balance from each other. Again, we're talking about sun and moon. We're talking about yin and yang. We're talking about balance. So I'm feeling like this sun is your air sign. Sun, I feel like, is an air sign because they tend to be optimistic and happy and easygoing and happy-go-lucky, and nothing's ever a problem, nothing's ever an issue. But for earth signs, they have their mind on something else, usually their stuff. So it can create some conflict. Now, if you're in love with this person and you really like them and this is just an occasional skirmish, then It's no need to look at it. I think this is what this card is about. For some of you, you feel like the conflicts are too much, so you now putting your mind on other people and other things and ready to move on. But if the relationship is worth salvaging, then you have to learn how to let go. You have to learn how to let go of the little stuff. Think about what is really important for you as far as your comfort and your well-being in the relationship. Don't waste a lot of time on minutia. Now, I know earth signs, y'all tend to think that everything is not minutia. We have a tendency to think that the things that we want to do and the things that we like and the things that we want, that there's nothing, that there's no hierarchy or prioritization. Everything is a number one. I need this, I need this, I need this. I want this, I want this, and I want this, and I want it all, and I want it now because I said so. Put it here, right now. And I'm getting that you need to prioritize that list of what you want. What is the top 3 things that you need in a relationship, Earthkeepers? And express that to your partner. And stick with that and go with that. And then the other things, let them go and see what happens. See if it doesn't change the dynamic in the relationship a little bit. Because I'm not getting that this is a bad pairing at all. What I'm getting is that you just don't see eye to eye all the time. And nobody sees eye to eye all the time. Now, if it's some deal breaker stuff, then break the deal. But if it's not a deal breaker, if it's not your top 3, then learn to have some patience. Learn how to let go of the little stuff, or do that other stuff for yourself. You know, somebody can't be everything to you. Earthkeepers. You can't expect for the other person to fulfill every aspect of what you want and need. Some of those things you're going to be fulfilling on your own. So it's time to make some decisions here for a lot of you. That decision is whether the conflict is too much and it's time to move on, or it's time to seek out other partners or connect with other people, or whether or not you are going to learn how to let go of the little things. Because to be honest with you, it may be that you need to learn how to let go, and this person is teaching you how to let go. It could also be that you do need to learn how to move on when things are too rough, and you have a tendency to stick and stay, because that's also an earth sign quality. We have a tendency to stick with something long past the expiration date. So wherever you sit with that, however that resonates with you, or whatever you feel like is the most important thing there, then go ahead and do that and make the decision that you need to make so that life can move on for the both of you. But again, I'm not getting that it's a bad thing. I'm getting that it's just a difference of opinion. And it's possible that you can get through it with some communication and with some time spent with each other. Okay? All right, so we got the Hierophant and we have the 10 of Pentacles here. Higher spiritual lessons are in this, in the cards for you and your partner. Higher spiritual lessons about how to maintain a relationship and have longevity in the relationship. So this is about longevity. And I feel like, Earthkeepers, that you want longevity in your relationship. That's also natural. We like to be stable. We like to have that one person that we're with for the rest of our lives, that we know we can count on and that's got our back, because we like to have other people's backs as well. But what I'm saying to you is that there is a much higher spiritual lesson, or there's not a higher spiritual lesson, but there's a bigger picture here for you about longevity in a relationship and what it takes to maintain that. In order to have longevity in a relationship and get what you really desire, which is to grow old together, have children together, or continue to raise your children together, if you already are connected or you're already partnered and have young ones, you want to see them grow up. You want them to have a stable home and in a stable environment. That's very important to earth signs, especially when they're talking about family. So, in order to do that, you have to be able to make it through the skirmishes. You got to make it through your differences. And the best way to do that is to understand each other, understand yourself, forgive yourself, and be forgiving of other people's flaws. But first, you got to be forgiving of your own flaws, because when you're forgiving of your own flaws, then it makes it easier to forgive other people's flaws. Communication being of the utmost, and in your partnership, the air person is probably the communicator. So if they're doing the most communication, then listen. Then you should be listening and assimilating the information and tying it into what you're doing. Okay? And who you are and how you're operating. It's just a bridge. It's creating a bridge here. And my gut feeling is that if you do that work, then you don't have to worry about seeking out the next partnership, because I don't think you want to do this. That's just my feeling. I don't think you really want to do it. You would rather stay. That's what earth signs would rather do. They would rather stay with the person that they're with and work it out. So you can do that too. All right. So I'm getting also the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands to me is feeling confident and feeling independent and having an independent nature, or honoring your independence in the relationship, honoring each other's independent ways in the relationship. This is a feeling thing because it is the queen. The queen is a feeling creature. She's intuitively connected, so she's a feeling person. So be careful of each other's feelings. Be mindful of each other's feelings when you're having this conversation with them. Are there any other detail cards here for my Earth Keepers in relationship to this reading? Any other cards in relationship to this reading? I got 3. I got the 6 of Pentacles, which is about, again, that's that bridge that I'm talking about. I've got Justice in reverse. So somebody feels like things aren't right, aren't fair, and aren't balanced. That's because you're not communicating, you're not listening, and you're not learning from each other, or you're not, you're blocking off the learning process. Then I've got the 4 of Pentacles in reverse here. Usually 4 Pentacles upright is about control. So it is releasing control, earth signs. It's no need to try to control the situation. You just have to learn, and you just have to listen, and you have to understand your partner. And you also have to be accepting of your partner's flaws and accepting of your partner's personality traits, because after all, that's why you ended up with them in the first place. It's something about the person that you liked. It was something about their personality that you liked. Otherwise, you wouldn't be with them. I'm not saying that you got to say, but I'm saying consider it. Okay? Especially if longevity is what you want. Because if you go and you get with the other person, or if you find somebody else, or you get a new roster, you're going to start all over again. And there is going to be conflict in any relationship. Conflicts do arise. So don't leave somebody just because you're having a conflict. Work through the conflict. And if you can't work through the conflict, that means the other person's not willing to listen. You're not willing to change. You're not willing to prioritize. They're not willing to speak up. If you meet that kind of stalemate, now it's time to move on. Okay? All right. If you want your own personal love reading, you know how to reach out to me. I'm at Kerri, Kerri, at wooingnature.life. And as always, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you're having a wonderful life.